You are at the Creator Lab. The Creator Lab was designed to look at uh, new broadcasting and where traditional meets new broadcasters, the creator economy. We have three parts to this area. We have the main stage where you can participate in discussions about what's important in the emerging creator area. We have the classroom area where you can deep dive into some topics like we will right now. And then we have our exhibitors. The classroom is in part made possible thanks to AMD and Lenovo. So I want to give them a big shout out for supporting this all. And they actually are bringing you your next speakers. Who hasn't said the word AI yet this morning? Anybody? um, so if you haven't, this is the place to come learn. We've got Andy Cochrane, who's a fantastic experimentalist in all things AV, AI, film, and Meagan Keane with Adobe, and AJ is standing in for John Canning. And the idea here is really to make this your session. They're going to present to you, ask them questions, and thank you for being part of Creator Lab. Thank you.
Thanks, Robin. Hi, everybody. As mentioned, my name is Meagan Keane. I lead business strategy for video at Adobe, specifically for our desktop products, Premiere and After Effects, but I also work very closely with our Firefly team. But my background, I spent about a decade as a documentary filmmaker, also worked in commercials, so I have that perspective to bring as well. And these two guys are some incredible filmmakers who are taking that bold leap into AI in filmmaking. You know, I feel like 2 years ago, did we all know that we were taking on a third, fourth job of just keeping up with AI? I didn't. I didn't realize how fast that this was all going to go. But the reality is that as we navigate through the industry at Adobe, and in our partnerships with AMD and Lenovo, we're realizing the pressures of compute and how much we're really going to have to be changing how we do things as AI becomes more and more real. But the perspectives from the industry on AI are varied, right? Some people are really excited and implementing it as much as they can. Some are feeling very hesitant, and some people are in between. Well, these two are finding great use cases for AI. And so we just wanted to talk through where they're leveraging AI to really either accelerate or amplify the work that they're doing. Yeah, great. So what I'd love to do is sort of start in I mean, I always want a narrative, guys, is the thing. I always want a narrative arc. And so I feel like the best way to walk through this is from a workflow perspective. So starting in sort of pre-production and concepting when you're coming up with ideas, talk me through sort of where and how AI is coming into play for you.
Good morning, everyone. Is this like official like the first kickoff day of NAB? We're doing this now? Like this is getting started? Hey, what's up, man? Hey, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for starting your NAB with us. I was promised backup singers right there in the corner. I guess they're not showing.
They didn't show, yeah. They had a
Yeah.
late night last night.
You know, one of the things that I think makes just filmmaking and the art so cool is that there isn't like a clinical right or wrong with any of this stuff. And I think we first with even just Chat GPT, I was using it very basically, like improve this email or something, make me not end every sentence with an exclamation point. And then you start to learn like, oh, you're using it for that. Oh, that's a really neat way to use it. And there's a lot of creativity and power in how you apply it. So with these tools, even just a couple of years ago, it was kind of like transparently as someone who was doing a demo, what's like a cool way to blow minds and like isn't gonna like fail me in front of a live audience. But now they're so versatile and reliable that when you even kind of meta but preparing for this NAB, I was like, how do I demo this stuff? And it's becoming a little bit more about how you choose to employ it versus like what it can technically do or not. So when you prepare for a demo session like this, it's kind of odd. You just have to set time aside to play. And I was kind of just wondering what would work and what wouldn't work. And then one day I went to dinner and I came back and I kind of looked at my setup and I realized, you know what, this is kind of the way that I use it because this is the way I'm thinking to employ it in my own creative iteration. So one of the ways I use it is for pre-production, just for me to start. I don't know about y'all. As a commercial director, pre-production, super important. Not my favorite part of the process at all. It's kind of doing a director deck or something. But sometimes the differences between the biggest gigs of my life and not getting them at all is being able to paint a really vivid picture for my clients or other teammates or people that I'm collaborating with. And this has given me some really cool tools to do that. So first, I was like, I wanted to try to create like a living room, and I asked I have a twin sister, and I was like, give me two colors, and she said yellow and blue, and I was like, what kind of psychopath would live in like a yellow and blue place? But it's really good at creating a vibe, and I thought that was interesting, and I tried to trip it up a little bit.
AJ, what are you working in here?
I'm working in in Firefly boards. Sorry, thank you. So has anyone?
Thank you.
Sorry, yeah, have you heard of it? Firefly boards, it's interesting. I'd heard about Firefly and boards online. I was actually kind of slow to that game because I'm like, I'm a pro app guy. I don't do like the web editor stuff. There are tools here that are absolutely unbelievable. This is, you just go to the Fire, it's all on living on browser, and it's this huge digital canvas where you can just try a bunch of stuff all in one place. So here I'm just able to generate images, lay them around. If it's kind of messy, there are different options. If I can click on them, I can like arrange them all, boop, all nice and neat. I can share them with my team, which is really cool. And yeah.
And one thing, I find that there's a rhetoric that has surfaced around AI that it's like AI ideation. And the reality is that like you have creative ideas. You don't need help with the creative ideas necessarily, but visualizing those creative ideas in order to communicate with others, in order to communicate with your team, whether you're working with a DP or you're working with a graphics team, to be able to like rough out what you're doing and send it over to be like, this is the kind of vibe we're going for, is a really powerful way to work with it. But Andy, I want to ask you a question because
Please, yeah.
something that you mentioned is AI doesn't work without creatives.
I think that's I've been going through a very personal journey with AI while the entire industry is going through the journey that I'm going through as well. And the AI slop stuff is here's my take on it. Yeah, the vast majority of AI generated content right now is slop because it's not very creative. It's tech demos. It's a engineer that just got a runway subscription and is trying some stuff out. It's not being used predominantly by creative people. There are examples. We've got some videos I want to show of people that I think are creative and have decided to use it as a tool to kind of express their ideas and develop their ideas. And so the AI slop argument is like, yeah, there's a lot of slop. It's terrible. There's also a lot of slop in Hollywood. There's a lot of very reductive franchise, slop. So the core is humans and it's creativity. I've got a couple of things I want to show kind of to speak to that, but that's my journey has been like, yeah, this doesn't do it for you. There is no prompt to pixel. There is no sort of like magic prompt that's going to prompt a movie. There's definitely prompts and inputs and tools that will be part of the process, but there is no sort of magic box that's going to replace you as a creative. And in fact, if there isn't a human in the loop, it does nothing. It needs a human to direct it and and say what it's doing. And so I'm a huge sort of opponent of prompt to pixel, sort of like, hey, look at this, Hollywood is cooked. Look at this little prompt that I did, and Tom Cruise is fighting Brad Pitt on a roof. It's like, no, Hollywood is not cooked. Hollywood is not cooked. Like like that's, if anything, the creatives are now more empowered than ever, and like I've been saying this for years, which is this has a better camera than every single digital cinema camera 10 years ago. You can shoot a better looking movie on this than anyone in Hollywood at any budget level could have filmed 10 years ago.
Well, and it's interesting because it's the same story as when cameras started shifting and becoming more prosumer, that everybody's like, oh, great, now everybody can make films and everybody's gonna slop. And it's like,
turns out nobody has that.
but you still need the story. You still need the creative idea. Yeah.
Like, Soderbergh is shooting on iPhones, right? His last couple movies have been on iPhones, and there have been a bunch of kids. I forget his name, the kid that just got a movie with A24, the Backrooms. He's like 19 or 20. he just shot stuff on a cell phone. He had a good idea. He was a creative. He had a vision, and he used cheap tools to execute that vision. And I think that's what we're really experiencing and witnessing now, is that there's these. It's not about consumer, prosumer, professional tools. It's just about tools that can accelerate pieces
Totally.
of a process. It's like another thing I keep saying is, like, in Hollywood, raise your hand if your dream was to animate keyframes on a Bezier curve. I know you, and I can make this dream come true, or to do roto, or to paint something out. I've done those jobs. I've tracked. I've done compositing. At no point was I like, yes, this is why I came to Hollywood. AI is great at that stuff. AI is fantastic at that stuff. And in fact, I don't do those things anymore because they went overseas to cheap sweatshops. So those things are incredibly easy for AI to take over. Those are the jobs that are going to be taken and are being taken and will go away. It is the things that machines can do without thinking and without creativity. So yeah, the AI is very much a part of the creative process. AI is not creative in and of itself. It's an empowerment.
Okay, so let's jump back into boards, great place to either bring in original capture, whether stills or images or video, or generate. You can use it. You're using it sort of storyboard, mood board,
Yeah, I mean,
concepting.
I did this and I was like, hey, I think this is pretty cool, but what if I want to do something more specific? Like as a director, let's say I want to do like storyboards for my shots, right? So I wanted to try something a little more aggressive. I was like, all right, picture of a stressed out guy standing beside his car in the middle of the desert after a boulder fell on it. And I got some cool stuff here, and it was interesting. But there was a big problem, which is this isn't like exactly what I have in my mind's eye. As a director, I get really specific about stuff, and one of the things that I do on every shoot is I will do something like this, where I like go through and I'll shoot the whole thing on my iPhone just to kind of mock it out, and it looks like gibberish, but for me, it helps me get my shots and get really specific, and then this will turn into this. And it's just, this is my process. I know directors that like hate storyboards. That's okay too. But for me, I want to get real specific. How can I get that specific with my generations, right? So one thing that you can do, yeah, what's up?
And just to touch on that, was that AI generated from those storyboards, or was that your final that you filmed?
Live action.
Yeah, that was what you actually filmed at the end.
Correct. That was all live action. That was all live action. Did that a while ago. So I was like, all right, well, I went out with my friend.
And AJ, before this, how many hand-drawn frames of storyboarding were you doing?
Enough to get mild carpal tunnel, or to have to work with an outside party to try to get what's in my mind's eye out. And it's really less about like taking away creative control from other people. The whole purpose of this is I just want to get what's in this out as quickly as possible. That's the dream.
And I think, speaking to the fact that we are here in the Creator Lab, a lot of this is speaking to, like, you probably wouldn't have had a budget to pay somebody to do this anyway.
100%.
So having the tools when you're like, I'm not, this isn't taking a job from anyone because I wouldn't have hired anybody in the first place, is really a big point here, where it's enabling people to do more with, the same resources.
Absolutely. Yeah.
One of my friends who's a writer that was kind of advising the WGA during the
Contract negotiations.
The negotiations. His point to them was the WGA is defining writing as 12-point Courier font, 3-act structure, 120-page scripts, and building a castle around that, and writers' rooms, and how many people are in the writers' rooms, and and they go to set. And his point, which I think is still insanely valid, is writers are going to go away if they define themselves on that output. Writers create characters and worlds and words and tell stories. Directors and producers are going to go into rooms without writers, with AI, and just ideate and bypass storyboard artists and everyone, and just do a rapid iteration, unless the creatives that have these great ideas and these great skills say, hey,
find their place.
Yeah, I may be a writer, but my output is ideas.
Totally.
It's not,
that's a good
it's
point.
not a script. And these tools, it puts power into hands, less experienced hands. It allows you to do things that you weren't trained to do it. You can make images that are beyond your capabilities as a cinematographer or whatever, but they're just for ideation and iteration. And so the creatives need to be in that loop and not just being like, it's taking my job. No, it's changing your job. Your job as a writer is now to talk and to think and to
have creative ideas
and have creative ideas. That's still writing. That's still world creation. And I think that's what, you know, a lot of this stuff is opening that creative process up and making it more raw, if anything, getting, you know, the kludgy slow tools out of the way and making it as close to the speed of thought as possible.
Right. Like automatic mode on a camera didn't kill. Like one of the things when this started happening, straight up, one of the things I really like about Adobe is they really encourage these kinds of honest dialogues. AI, crazy. This is nuts. It's like that's what we're talking about this year. I have in my creative world friends of mine at varying levels of enthusiasm about it. Some of them, like me, I go, "What a time to be a creative! This is amazing." Other ones, a little bit more resonant. I wanted to understand why. And the truth that I stumbled on was like, you don't you don't shoot on manual mode because you want it to be hard. You don't graduate to a pro editing software like Premiere because you want it to be complicated. You do it because you get to a certain level of professional creativity where you don't just want it to be good anymore. You want it to be yours, you know? To like have your DNA on it, to have that indelible mark. And I think there's this perception with Gen AI that it's just a slot machine of like quality and convenience. And if you use it that way, sure. But I have found that if you use it to its fullest potential with a lot of specificity and to be very granular about it and intentional, it can do stuff that's not only just elevates average work to really extraordinary work, but does so in a way that feels like an extension of my visual language, of my creative process, of the way that I like to do art, you know? So this is the way I thought to apply it. When you generate stuff, you can have like a visual reference, which is kind of handy. So I said, I want you to copy this framing. And now I was able to get a generation that was kind of like in my mind's eye. And then I was like, okay, interesting. What if I don't have a shot I can get an iPhone reference for? What if I want to do something like a dragon or something like that? I did a music video a while back with this shot of two people playing beer pong. I'm not much of an artist, but I wanted to see if it could use this as a reference and try to interpret it. And it did. And look at the little details here. We have like a guy in a hoodie and like his hands up and stuff. And it did a pretty good job. There was one in particular I thought was excellent, was this one. I was like, wow. And then I thought, well, what if I can use this generated image as a reference? Like, what if I want to just board this out and then I want to close up? Maybe she's so impressed with this raw athleticism that there's a close up, and there is. And I go, oh my God, if I really take the time on this, I could board out this whole vision. So I did. I made a shot list. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take you on a journey. Both balls fly in. It's incredible. The crowd goes wild. She's so impressed. Jake, I think I love. Boom, an elephant crashes in through the ceiling. You know the parties. It's crazy. It's pandemonium. All of a sudden, Jake notices something. He looks in close. Oh my God, he's a cap. The party's surrounded, you know, all around. But the point of this to be like, you can really just get what's in your mind's eye out and paint a vivid picture. And keep in mind, I can say like, I want this to be in an industrial warehouse. I want there to be a spotlight. And some people will say, okay, well, if you're using some of these images and some of them are commercially safe, like Adobe, some of them aren't, like Google. And if you click on an image here, like you'll notice, like that's a Jeep, right? And if I click on this, it kind of says you're responsible for determining this stuff. So then you go, okay, well, if it has copyright, then is it useless for me then if I can't? Half of building boards for me was like getting screenshots from my favorite movies or TV shows as reference for the mood or the lighting style or the cinematography I'm looking for. It just allows me to make it a little bit more my own versus just searching online on Google Images all day long.
And that's one of the things that we're talking about a lot at Adobe is that there's this frustrating friction working in AI where you're having to keep like 40 different tabs open and have a dozen different subscriptions to different, you know, whatever model you may need for whatever given use case. And what we're really building with boards, also with Firefly, and now we're starting to integrate some of this functionality into tools like Premiere and Photoshop, is you can find the models that you want here and you can access them through your Firefly account versus having to have subscriptions with all these different models. So at the show this week, we're actually very excited to announce that we're now supporting Kling 3.0 and 3.0 Omni, which is largely considered the, you know, top of the heap for today in terms of video models. But so as you go into production and then post, can you talk a little bit about where is AI finding itself in your workflow?
I sure can. But before we move on, I'll point out one little thing about all these models here. So in boards, it is really just this digital canvas where you can apply and play with all the little, you can stack them on top of each other. The reason I like to call this out is for two reasons. The first one is back in the early days of AI, if I wanted to use like Googles or Adobe's or Runways or OpenAI's, I was going to each of those places, and nothing sucks harder than really investing and learning how to use something and then realizing it gets obsolete. And the reality is that the models that you see here today are the latest and greatest models of today. We will not be talking about any of these, I believe, in a calendar year's time. But the reason why this is so important is because the time that I'm spending to learn this interface, the Adobe Boards thing, I feel like it's time well spent, because as soon as new models come out, they're going to automatically appear here. So this is a tool that remains current, and the interface is going to be the thing that's kind of the constant. So
and you can start with, say, an image, like you use, let's say, Nano Banana to create an image. And then you can say, well, actually, I like this image. I want to see how this would play out in a video clip, and say, okay, I'm going to use Kling to take this image from Nano Banana to turn it into a video.
Yep.
And you can sort of bounce between the different models. Yeah, a question. I like it. Oh, no, behind you.
But thank you for thanking us. Sea dance.
No, go for it.
What is the question? Yes, sea dance is, he said, the elephant in the room, pun intended, is sea dance. Yes. Are you asking, do we have it yet? We don't have it yet.
Good question, though.
Let's jump into, I do want to show one of the things that specifically, like, AMD really comes to mind, and I want to make sure to give them this time in Premiere, is, when we talk about AI, there's sort of a couple different sides of AI, of course. What we say inside of Adobe is there's assistive AI, there's corrective AI, and there's generative AI. So assistive AI is really taking away a lot of the tedium, the things that you're like, to your point, I don't want to be doing this anyway. Like, I am not interested in sifting through thousands of clips because I know I shot this one thing, but I can't seem to find it. And in Premiere, we, about a year ago, added media intelligence, which basically, as you import any of your footage into a Premiere project, everything is searchable. And that's on device. And obviously always happens a lot faster when you have an AMD device. But can you show a little bit about how media intelligence search works?
Yeah, so more and more advanced features have been dropping into Premiere, and we're on the regular Premiere right now, and it's kind of hidden in the corner, but it's super powerful. You go into the settings, you tick a little box, and it's like, hey, do you want me to scan your stuff when it comes in visually, audioly? And I go, okay. And it happens on a fast machine. It just, you don't even notice it happening. I'm going to play a little video here, and I worked into this all of the colors of the rainbow very naturally. Let's see if I can do it. Can we hear the audio on this? All right, so we end up shooting it on red, which is great. I love that camera. But how it shows up in the actual shooting, she looks completely different. Her skin is literally orange, like a cartoon. I look at her and I go, what happened? She's like, oh, I wanted to try this new spray tan, and when I damage my skin under the yellow sun. I go, okay, we can't shoot you like this, and we need to move into the background. We're going to shoot the frame instead. She was green and angry, but lunch comes around, you see her, and she's so sad. She's so blue. So, purple. You're kind of a weird dude. Okay, we cut that out. So somebody from the rainbow. Green. Okay. So if you ever does anyone here do documentary work at all? Long takes, and sometimes you find the story as you go through production, right?
Or even corporate brand work.
Yeah, that's true. True. I mean, if you're ever interviewing people, and also sometimes you go back in and you create an edit with old stuff. So here, there's a little search button in the corner, and you can search everything, visuals, all this stuff. I'm going to just leave everything right now, and I'm going to do green. Not only does it search all my footage across all my sequences of stuff that's green, but on the bottom here, if I just double click on this, straight to green. And also notice here, all of this happens. This auto transcription. She's so sad. She's so blue. Nuts. Now, it does a really, really, really good job, but you can't even come in and like click and edit and change a word if you want to. And you might say, okay, well, why would I ever want to do that? Because with one click, you can add subtitles. So you can change things if you need to specifically. You can do different kind of styles. This is really helpful for social media, but you can just hit create captions. And now the actual shoot day, she looks completely different. Her skin is literally orange, like a cartoon.
But then AJ, what about visual search? 'Cause that's one that is a little bit harder. You're like, I remember I'm trying to find this B-roll shot to cut in, but I can't remember which shoot day it was on.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's another very normal thing I did. All right, log 974. You're seeing this. Means the virus is spread across North America, probably South America too. I doubt many survivors of the conditions have become pretty serious. I'm open level. The few of us that remain are trying to put together. Yeah. I know what you're thinking, and yes, I do need to get more outfits. If I just search something like, for example, orange ball, it'll search again through all my things, and let me see if I can get it. Did I not scan that for the see for visuals? Let's see where it is. There's everything. Visuals, sequences. Did I not scan this one? Oh, visuals? Oh no. Basketball. I added this in last night, gang. Did I not scan? I didn't scan it, but it's really, really helpful. You can do things like if there's a red car that goes in the background, or a bird that flies by, or a certain like a logo that comes into place, like a soda can. It takes you directly to it, which is incredible.
And then finally, before we open it up for a couple questions before we finish, Andy, I know that there's also, something that you mentioned around using AI when you maybe wouldn't have even created something in the first place, like memes or maybe promotional materials that you're putting out.
Yeah.
Can you talk a
So
little bit about that?
I just want to share some stuff because, every time people talk about generative AI, they don't tend to talk about anything that's actually good. They tend to either just talk about workflows or they talk about slop, and it's never sort of like, hey, there's actually some good stuff going on. I'm going to blaze through these to just show them super quickly. Does anyone know Neural Viz? Is anyone seen Neural Viz?
Careful as you imagined, and probably worse. With more, we go to Tom Lee Cruz. Tom, we're all in danger, Danley. Jesus Christ, what can we do? Absolutely nothing. It was good knowing you, Tom Lee. I can't say the same. That was unnecessary. We're just now getting in reports that all the children have exploded. They will be checking with Olivia Lee Rodrigo. Olivia Lee, where are you?
That's none of your business. You hear that? Music. Do you hear that?
What do you hear?
That's the sound of us slowly dying. Do you hear it?
I can't hear it. Louder in my left
Oh,
ear.
I don't know how to turn that off. So NeuralViz makes like these kind of silly little videos. He does a bunch of stuff with aliens talking and stuff. He is a good writer. End of conversation. The AI slop videos, there's 6 fingers. That's a year or two old, that video. Anybody that sort of looks at NeuralViz's videos and sort of analyzes them as slop and talks about, well, this is unwatchable because of this, that, and the other, is paying
They're
attention.
missing the point.
Well, they're paying attention to the technology, right? Like, and this is not a video that somebody should pitch and finance and put out there. This is a meme video, funny video that wouldn't exist any other way. The other thing I want to highlight this, where is Trisha? So there's a creator in the UK named Trisha Code. She's a VJ that discovered AI a couple of years ago and basically was like, I'm in. I'm all in on this. And so she's created this variety show on YouTube. She has very few viewers, like a couple thousand views per video. She's a tiny creator, but she's using AI to make music because she wants to be a musician, and she's using AI to make videos, and she's created this variety show. She is the most you go on her YouTube page and just look at her videos, and she's doing it for very small audiences, and she's putting stuff out daily, but she is one of the most creative individuals on the planet right now. And she is she's a minority voice, right? She's outside of the Hollywood system. She's not pitching, she's not directing commercials and trying to get her personal projects going. She's just using AI to make stuff at like a frantic pace.
But we're replacing you with AI.
You can't do that.
Why not?
Because AI is slop. Look at your lips. They're horrible.
What's wrong with my lips?
You need the human touch.
AI can do that now.
No, it can't.
Robo worker, give it the human touch. I'm sorry. See?
Yes, but you can actually.
She has hours of content, and the point with Trisha Code is like every shot is a different. She's using cling, she's using runway. There's no character consistency. There's the blah 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 blah. She is a creative individual using these palettes, these tools to just blast stuff out there. And the final thing I want to just throw a little highlight on, this guy named Void Stomper that's making these Cronenberg grotesque, just he's he's a machine gun of these bizarre videos, just bizarre. And this is also Void Stomper. He gets a little political and current eventy.
Is your buttercream all the way through? Completely. Perfect layers.
So these are a couple creators that are actually making good stuff, but they're not making movies. They're not making commercial projects. I don't believe in prompt to pixel for something that matters, that you want to, have precise creative control over. Prompt to pixel for this kind of stuff like Will Smith eating spaghetti, which is, I'll just play this while. So if everyone remembers Marcy, the Kodak test image, the Kodak test image, the Marcy of AI is Will Smith eating spaghetti, which is, we can turn the volume down on it. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Every time a new video model comes out, somebody prompts Will Smith eating spaghetti, and then you get this, and it's getting better, and it's become sort of like the test of like, how are the models doing? They're getting better and better, and blah blah blah. This would be so expensive to make, to pay Will Smith, to hire a crew, to pay a director, to shoot the thing, to light it, to shoot it, to post it. You would never, ever, ever make a video as a professional of Will Smith eating spaghetti. But for memes, for simple things, as a funny idea, we can go from idea to final execution on things. And so what that does is it takes minority voices, folks that are outside the system, disadvantaged folks, gives them a tool to take that idea and at least put it in some form and put it out into the world. It may not be feature grade. It may not be commercial grade. It may not be ready for prime time. But that's the point. It's the iPhone gave access to a lot of folks, and not just the iPhone, but cheap cameras gave access to a lot of folks. Desktop publishing gave access to a lot of folks. There's a lot of tools that have given sort of like on-ramps. And that, to me, is the prompt to pixel side of things of generative. That's the power, is not making final high-end AAA products, but getting on the on-ramp and getting your ideas out in a way that people can actually enjoy and engage in.
Thank you guys so much. Unfortunately, we are at time, so we don't have time to take questions as an audience, but we will head to the back if you guys want to ask us. I also encourage you to stop by the Adobe booth. We have a lot of AI power being shown over there. Hover and click masking so you can rotoscope in Premiere. New stuff for Firefly Video Editor. But come have a chat if you want in the back. Oh, and stick around for Travis because he's got some cool stuff to show you.